Let's get into this week's reviews. First up, we will go with Transformers Rise of the Beast. So this is basically like, it's not technically like a reboot because you still have, all the similar people and you're still within the same universe, but it kind of acts as a soft reboot in the sense of, Seth, you said you've only seen the first Transformers, and I don't think you literally would be, like, nothing in Transformers Rise of the Beast wouldn't have made sense for you by not seeing, like, the last Night, Age of Extinction, stuff like that. I think it's very accessible for new fans of Transformers, because I'm calling you a new fan. It's directed by Stephen Caple Jr. It's a 90s globe-trotting adventure that introduced the Maximals, Predacons, and Terrorcons to the existing battle on Earth between Autobots and Decepticons. So we're getting a lot of new friends and faces, starring Anthony Ramos, Dominique Fishback, and of course the kind of main guy in this one for the Transformer world is Mirage. And I think we should just start off by talking about our quick non-spoiler thoughts, more so just saying overall if we liked it, didn't like it, give our score, and then we'll jump into just talking about the movie in general, talking about spoilers and such. So we'll kick it off first to Cam, since he's joining us for this review, which I didn't initially expect, so happy to have him here. Let's go to you. What are your thoughts?
I was a bit disappointed with this one. I saw good reviews, not great, but good. And, I feel as though, more often than not, I'm probably higher on a movie than most. Just if I'm entertained by it. This thing, it just falls into the rest of the Transformers franchise where it's just stupider and stupider. And I think this one does not do any different on a stupidity level, I guess. Like I said in my review, I was like, and it's like a fun time. I didn't hate watch it, but like it was just so goddamn stupid the whole time. There's a lot of moments that are just, again, stupid. I don't even know how else to describe it, but like you said, it could be a reboot, it could be a prequel, it could be a sequel to Bumblebee. It like wasn't a reboot, but they retcon like half the things that happened in the Bayverse, and so now they're like saying it's a reboot, but like it's a reboot with all the character designs being the exact same, and it's just like, what's the fucking point? And we can get into it more when we talk like spoilers and what actually happens in this movie, but there are just so many moments where I was like, this is just fucking dumb. And that's really my biggest takeaway. So I gave it a 52 out of 100, I believe. So like a 2.5 out of 5. Again, I didn't hate my time watching it. I just kind of was blown away by how stupid it was.
It shocked me because I saw your TikTok review first before I saw you give it 2.5. And from the first 15 seconds of your TikTok review, where it's just 15 minutes straight of you laughing out loud, I was like, oh, he probably rated this a 1 star, 0.5 star. And I was like, 2.5. Like, I didn't even, like, the first 15 seconds of your review, there's no dialogue. It's just you laughing, like, covering your face. I was like, how is this a 2.5 from
funny.
you?
It genuinely made me laugh in the theater. Like, at the very end,
which we'll talk about.
Had me dying.
Yeah, I was doubled over laughing at that.
I think this is like my third highest rated Transformers, Jesus, honestly.
That says a lot.
That's so bad.
Above every Bay film except the first, and just below.
No way you have this above Dark of the Moon.
Yeah, dude. I think Dark of the Moon kind of stinks. I'm sorry.
I do too, but I think I need to adjust my Dark of the Moon rating, but I don't know.
I watched, bro, you do. You have it at 0.5.
Seth, Transformers Rise of the Beast. You have, like I said earlier, you've only seen the first Transformers, and now this is your second. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said this on my review. Take it with a pinch of salt. I've not seen. I watched the first one when I was younger. I liked it when I was younger. I rewatched it a couple of years ago. I actually quite liked the first one. It was like a 3.5 for me. I think it's pretty good. I don't know, man. I was so bored during this, to be honest. It felt visually uninspired. It felt cliche. It felt lifeless, and I found it pretty dull. And again, I think I would find most Transformers films dull now. I just don't think I'm just not interested in this kind of watching two robots fight at all. It just doesn't bother me. And I think that shows when I was watching it, I was just not having a good time with it at all. Oh, okay. Actually, whilst I'm here, what did I say to you guys on text the other day? I said the most embarrassing thing happened to me at the cinema.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, yeah.
You
didn't tell us the story.
Oh, God.
So this is at the Transformers Rise of the Beast screening you were at?
Single-handedly, this is probably one of the most embarrassing things that's ever happened in my life. Okay? So, I walk into the cinema. and I'm chilling. I'm on my own, ready to see the new Transformers. Got my drink in my hand, whatever. And I'm walking into the cinema, and it's really busy because this was like Friday, sunny day. People were there, whatever. It was like a packed cinema. I walk into the to my screen, and I've got like 5 people behind me walking in, like directly behind me with their stuff. I've basically booked it so I could go at the back row right on the end in case I hated it that much. I just wanted to leave. That was like my idea behind that. And then I look on the back row, and there's a woman sitting there, and I'm like, oh, okay, that she sat in my seat. It wasn't my seat. So I walk up to this woman, and it turns out I booked the end of the row. So this side, we'll say this side, right? So the left side for people who are listening. I booked the left-hand side of the row. She was sat on the right-hand side. I had in my head it was the right-hand side. I'm an idiot like I am. I didn't check. I walk up. The woman sat here. I'm like, oh, I'll just sit on the seat next to her then, because that's free. I can't be able to check what my actual seat is. I'll just sit on the seat at the end. There wasn't a seat at the end. Do you want to try and guess what happened?
So you fell down.
I fell very, very far down in front of about 10 people and poured my drink over myself.
Oh my!
It was.
I was not following that story for a little bit.
I literally.
I was a little lost.
I literally looked at this woman, went to the end of the row, went to sit down in a seat that I thought was there, in front of about 7 people, and fell straight on my back. Blew my drink everywhere, and people were just laughing at me. The woman next to me was just looking at me, and I was like, oh, I thought there was a seat there, and I was just getting laughed at. And then I had to sit down and watch the film in front of everyone, next to everyone as well.
Did you sit on a seat or just on like the stairs?
I was tempted to just honestly.
I probably would have just went home.
Dude, I was gonna say, I'm surprised you. I would have been like played it off and be like, oh, let me go clean up, and then just left the theater. Never come back.
Pretend to be on the phone or something, like answer the phone or something, and just walk out.
That's
unreal.
unreal.
Do you think that affected your viewing experience?
So yeah,
would it have been a 5 out of 5 if not for that?
I think it would have been a 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was really, really embarrassing. I ran down after. I was like, Jesus Christ. I think the worst bit is I had to sit there after. Do you know what I mean? And I knew that these people are just laughing. I look like a fucking freak right now.
They're sitting on their podcast right now talking about how
someone like fell over next to them.
Dumbass fell.
Yeah.
Worst cinema experience for them.
So yeah, that was terrible. That was really embarrassing. I can't remember the last thing that's happened to me. It didn't feel very good. But yeah, onto the film. I don't know, man. It's just not really my thing. I didn't enjoy it. I was pretty bored. There was a few moments which got a little chuckle out of me. There was a few sequences, a few bits of dialogue now and again. And I found the human characters to just be so lackluster, and not fleshed out and just boring and very, very formulaic. But again, I'm lower on this than most, so maybe people liked it. I had a few people messaging me saying it was one of the best ones. And fuck it, this is one of the best ones. I'm not watching any of the other ones because it's shite. But is what it is. It's not something for me. And yeah, it was I think I gave it a 1.5. Yeah, 1.5. So
George,
is what it is.
Did your cinema experience live up to that?
I mean, my cinema experience was perfectly fine, I guess.
No falling over then.
No, I didn't fall or spill drinks on me. I did do that thing where you like open the bag of M&Ms and I accidentally opened it too much and all the M&Ms went on me, but they just went on my sweatshirt, so I kind of picked them up and put them back in the bag and still enjoyed them. But yeah, nothing. I didn't fall downstairs, unfortunately. Probably would have been better though.
I kind of wish I'd have fell down the stairs because then at least I'd have been hurt.
I would have gone home. I would have gone home. So I'm kind of upset I didn't fall down the stairs.
Yeah,
but true. No, I don't know. It's one of those things where like you just don't go into these movies with expectations because of how crappy this franchise has kind of turned out. And I do like Bumblebee a lot, so I'm not adding Bumblebee into that mix. But
is that counted in the universe?
Yeah, of course. I'm just saying the entire Transformers
is a sequel to
this is a sequel to Bumblebee, technically.
Is it?
So even if this is a reboot, like it's supposed to be, Bumblebee was kind of a reboot, and so this is just supposed to be a sequel to that. But
interesting.
Doesn't matter.
So but like historically, the Transformers franchise, obviously outside of the first, which I really fucking love, I just don't think they've been putting out great movies. So you kind of go into these movies knowing what to expect, and I gave it a 2.5 out of 5, which is probably too high, but it's just, you go in, just watch some robots fight and blah, blah, blah. You just live through it. I said in my TikTok review, my biggest problem with these Transformers movies nowadays is that they've lost that Michael Bay spark, that whatever talent he brought to directing that first movie that just made it so,
his spark just stunk.
Oh, stop it. That first movie, I rewatched that first movie right at... So fuck off. I rewatched that movie right after I watched Rise of the Beast,
maybe.
And 2007, and I still fucking love it. Like, that movie just had all the ingredients to make a Transformers movie amazing, and I think he pulled it off.
But
when did he stop making
for the rest of the 4?
What?
He did 4 more after that and never recreated that spark.
No. Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon may not be great movies, but they did not lose the spark of creating a spectacle around a Transformer. Like that, they still had, like, Optimus Prime just felt so lifeless.
Transformer have a ball sack. That's his spark. Congrats, Michael. I'm John Turturro. I'm standing under his nuts. Fuck that movie, man. They're so bad.
I hate you. No, they're not. The first one's amazing. But yeah, this one just kind of, they were just running through the motions. There was nothing to it, nothing that made this stand out from the rest of the Transformers movies. The final battle was okay. The only part that really made me hype, I guess, was the return of Bumblebee. This movie also, and this is such a weird comparison, maybe not even a comparison, but this movie makes me...
That's a spoiler. You may want to cut that part.
Oh, yeah. Who gives a fuck?
Just saying.
It's a Transformers movie. But this movie makes me appreciate James Gunn's soundtrack for the Guardians movies so much better, because this movie objectively had amazing songs, but they just never knew when to play them, and they just always felt so out of place. And it just made me, literally while I was watching this movie, I was like, this is making me appreciate Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 so much more because of the impact the soundtrack has on that movie. This movie felt like they ran through the movie and they just picked out of the hat of iconic songs and just tossed them in wherever. And it just felt very out of place.
When did Michael Bay stop doing them?
After
The Last Night was his last one. I don't know what year that was. Probably 2016.
Who did
not done Bumblebee in this one?
No. But yeah, I went with a 2.5 out of 5. It was fine. It's probably going to go lower when I don't rewatch it. I'm going to forget about this movie in a week, and I'll be like, okay, this does not deserve a 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah, for me, this movie is so bland and dull, man. And I'm kind of in between Cam and George in the Michael Bay discussion. I think Michael Bay's writing is not great. I think this movie was written better than a lot of the Michael Bay Transformers movies. But this was easily the most boring and lacking in stylistic flair than any Michael Bay movies. Even ones that are rated lower than this, objectively, just because I just think the writing was just stupid and dumb and they had no clue what they were doing. I still think this one just lacked the action and spark to make me engaged and interested in the story. I just thought this was so bland and dull. The first 30 minutes were such a slog, and the third act battle that George was talking about, I felt like that went on forever. I was like, oh my God, this battle is never ending. I thought the movie was going to end several times. I really like Anthony Ramos. I thought he was very solid. Dominique Fishburne's character, opposite, in my opinion. I did not think she was great. I just thought it was boring, dry. I thought the visuals were not great either. Legitimately, the 2007 one, I think, has better CGI and better effects than this one did. I thought, especially because I think maybe it was just the setting. Because when they were in the mountains and on the grass, all these Transformers, within the wildlife setting, looked so off, and you could just tell they were plopped in there on a computer. Whereas all the Michael Bay movies, every single one takes place in cities and backgrounds that are probably rendered skyscrapers and stuff anyways. But the clash between these Transformers and the grass and stuff, I just thought looked abysmal. There was some laugh out loud moments, not from the comedy, but the end, which we're about to talk about once we get into spoilers, legitimately made me laugh out loud. But yeah, I don't know, it just blows my mind. This is a 2023 movie, and like I thought like the transforming was like lamer than like a 2007
That's what
one.
I'm saying,
Like-
man.
like-
There's the spark. The spark.
Yeah.
You watch the 2007 version, and the transforming. It's just it's
No one's
massive.
arguing
it's
with
grand.
2007, but he went 1 for 5, man. And I'm not arguing. The transforming in the first movie was incredible, and
That's
this
what I'm
movie at least
saying.
tried to have transforming versus beads flying through the air with their fucking. I believe it was called Transformium. Transformium, George.
Well, I
New
mean, to be
element.
fair, Michael Bay is just adapting comics, so
Stanley
Transformers is
Tucci was 2 characters in this universe.
that is
for no reason.
rough. But so Transformers, like this one, like all the transforming scenes were so lame and dull. Like every single Bay movie looks better than this one. And like, so the one cool scene is when like the car slides and he hops out of it and throws on his backpack, but they played it in the trailer 7,000 times. So it's not cool. And then the one where he's sitting in the car and slowly turning around while it's transforming, so bad. That's so bad.
No, that was awesome.
No, that's so bad, dude.
That's the only one.
Every
I
cool
can
moment in this
think of
movie they
that
put in the
this is awesome.
trailers for like 6 months, and I don't know, like it.
I don't remember that one.
And since we already
But
spoiled
that's
it,
the
like,
only one I made note of and I liked.
oh no, I thought that was really dumb. And then like when because since we already spoiled that Bumblebee's in it, which isn't really a spoiler. When the girls in Bumblebee and transforms, like that was so lame too. Like when Bumblebee quickly transforms and puts her in there, but yeah. And Cam, it's Transformers. They're gonna have Bumblebee. These are fan service 101 movies.
No, not that he didn't say Bumblebee was in all the trailers. That's not what I was talking about. Never mind. We can get into it in
Oh,
spoilers.
okay. Well, yeah. But yeah, so I give it 2.5 out of 10 for 1.5 stars. Honestly, I was really close to giving this 0.5 stars. I hated this. I think I like Dark in the Moon more, so I think I might have to drop this down to a 0.5 if I'm being honest.
I'm same thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah, you're here first. Right after this podcast is over, this is going down to a 0.5 out of 5 stars. This is just
Jesus.
there's nothing.
I'll put it down to a 1.
There's
I'll
nothing
remember.
I can say
I had a laugh.
positively. Like, there's nothing I can
one
say
laugh.
positively. And then someone commented, it's like, oh, I don't know, maybe you can say positively, like the soundtrack. No. The time period. What did the time period didn't change anything. Acting. No. Decent CGI. Worst CGI of the franchise. Like, what are you guys talking about? These are not positives. You're just adding to my point that there's no positive in this movie. We'll jump into spoilers now. Going now.
I mean, before
Okay, go ahead.
This isn't a spoiler, but what did you guys think of Pete Davidson?
I actually liked him. I thought he did well.
It was so like obviously Pete Davidson, but for some reason that didn't like throw me off. I think that made it so much better.
Yeah, I
Like,
thought it was
they
fine.
didn't even try. They didn't even try to like.
I mean, the bird was Michelle Yeoh, and they didn't.
Yeah,
really-
I know. Yeah, but like I don't know. Pete Davidson just had such a distinct voice, especially when he's delivering like comedic lines, and I was just like, they didn't even try to like make that a Transformer sounding robot.
I didn't hate him. That was
I
fine.
think
No,
he
I
was
didn't hate him at
getting-
all.
He's getting overused a little bit. They're over Pete Davidsoning the world right now. And
I honestly think Pete
I didn't
Davidson's
mind
quite
him in this
funny.
one. I thought he was
think
kind
he's
of
quite
funny.
As an actor
I think
in
he's quite
general.
funny too. I just think
don't
I think any
No, I
actor
do too, but
you
he's
can
in
go
every
overuse.
commercial.
Yeah, every commercial and like
Yeah.
he was in Fast X and now this and
Yeah, like he's just in every
random roles. So yeah, we're gonna get into spoilers now. Yeah, so cut it here if you don't want to be spoiled from Transformers: Rise of the Peak. But so we're not gonna go like scene by scene through this movie like we do with some of the big releases. One thing I just want to start with right off the bat. So these Maximals. Why don't they just go in maximal form all the time? They say that till the very end. Why are you just nerfing yourself in every battle? What's the explanation? It's just like, oh, they run out of oil or something? Like, I thought it was so dumb. It was like, Maximals maximize or whatever. I was like, why weren't you this big the whole time? What's wrong with you? This could have been over so much earlier. You saved it for the very end. I don't know. I thought
There'll be a reason for that.
Were
We'll
they
get a
bigger?
Transformers like super fan coming to actually, and
Were
I'll
they
say like,
bigger?
exactly what it is.
Yeah, they basically pack-a-punched themselves. They got bigger. They got more
I didn't
armor,
think
and they got
okay. I didn't realize
No,
they were
they
any
got
bigger. I
bigger,
thought they
yeah.
just became
Quite a
instead
bit
of, like,
bigger.
Cheetahs, they were
They were
first-
bigger, yeah.
No, they became like Super Saiyan mode. But
Sure.
the Maximals, I thought the Maximals were so corny, dude. Like the Optimus Primal, I was named after you. That had
That
me
was
laughing out
so
loud.
funny.
Optimus Primal is the funniest freaking name I've ever heard for anything in my life. And I feel
Yeah.
like then the Primals like are just the Maximals are just like, I don't know. Like I get it, it's cool. You're trying to make a gorilla and a cheetah, but I just feel like they're not effective. Like transform, like make them just like big humans, like Optimus Prime that can blow up shit instead of like. Why are you making just jungle animals? I don't really.
Well, I mean,
know.
it's not like they like. and I know this doesn't really answer your point, but like it's not like they made them for this movie. Like they've been in comics and
that's
yeah. So they.
I mean, same with Transformium though.
Huh?
So you can't say this movie's it's because of the comics and then knock Transformium. That's a comic thing too.
I don't think it is. I'm going to it now.
Okay, you can fact check that. The ending. Let's just talk about the very end because that's the part that's most memorable for me. Was it a post-credit scene or am I just forgetting it? Or was it just the very end? It was like when we find out that they're the GI Joes or in the Transformers world, which for me, I never knew like Transformers and GI Joe were like supposed to be in the same universe. I don't know if comic readers were already.
I think everything under Hasbro is like considered the same universe. Like all the toys under Hasbro.
Is Barbie owned by Hasbro?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like I think Barbie can.
Oh shit! The post-credit scene of Barbie is about to be hype.
Gotta be so lit.
Anthony Ramos walks in. He's like, "We got work to do. Enhance Barbie a GI Joe card."
That's funny. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Like the Barbie movie, you just see Optimus Prime in the background.
God.
Walking.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. Like if Hasbro owns all the rights to all them, like might as well just make them all combined because that's what everyone's trying to do these days. But yeah, I don't know. Like the big thing for me that like really dragged down this movie is just that final battle because I just felt like that went on. Like I know Seth agreed. It just went on so long, and it's like one of those things that like a lot of movies like this suffer from that. I can't think of another one off the top of my head where it's like there's world-ending stakes, consequences that are going to have ramifications for the entire universe, but like yet I didn't feel that at all or feel like anything was in jeopardy the whole time. The walkie-talkie call with his brother was so silly, like getting him to get up. And I don't know, personally for me, I hated the Iron Man suit thing. I thought that was awful. Like
Wakanda Forever ending, maybe not quite as bad, but. That's kind of
in terms of like a super long battle.
Worse than Wakanda Forever?
No, I'm saying. Well, I think this is worse than Wakanda Forever, ending.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I said.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, I think.
Yes,
the Transformers one was worse. Yeah. Just
yes.
Similar in terms, I didn't really feel the stakes and what was happening. Yeah.
I said that wrong, but yeah. I see what you're saying.
But yeah, what other things you guys want to talk about that are technically spoilers? Because I don't have a whole lot to this.
I've got plenty.
Okay.
This is a stupid ass movie, man.
Did you take notes during this movie?
Yeah, of course. It was so. Did you guys have people in your theater? I know Seth had at least a woman, but mine was
full.
Yeah, my theater was packed.
My theater was absolutely empty. I was sitting next to I was sitting like 5 seats down from like 4 jackasses, just being jackasses, but like they weren't the worst I've ever had in a theater, so it was fine. But first off, the transwarp key, what a name! Just like it's also. By the way, it's the same thing as I said this in my review. It's the same exact thing as the pillars. They just bring a planet to this planet. The pillars in Dark of the Moon bring Cybertron, and this one brings Unicron, obviously for different purposes, but it's the same fucking thing, just as the spark and whatever the seed in Age of Extinction are the same thing. They just turn things into Transformer metal. It's idiotic how many MacGuffins go in these movies, and like every single movie is just like, can you get this object that will destroy the earth or whatever? But yeah, this is the same thing as Dark of the Moon. Speaking of Optimus Primal, it's probably one of the worst, like, hey, here's this guy's name I've ever seen in a movie. Cause like, he's like, you Optimus Primal or something like that.
Like I feel like the way they said it too, with the cadence and the pause, was almost like they were expecting like a No Way Home reaction or something, where they're like, we're like, oh, the way we're about to say this, people are gonna lose their minds when they hear his name.
By the way, sorry, I did look it up. So Living Metal is in the comics, but it was not. From what I can find in a quick Google, it was never called Transformium. So I'm blaming Michael Bay for that because that's
fair enough.
But Mirage at one point kills a fucking cop, just like absolutely kills him because he puts the cop car on its side and then a truck runs into it from the top. That person's dead. So like just a murderer. And then also the only positive note I wrote down, Tyler, is Mirage transforming to go forward was actually quite sick.
That was dope.
That's what I said.
Cool.
I thought that was awesome.
No, that was cool. At first, I was like, "What is he doing?" And then he turned. I thought he was getting like a weapon system out. No, that was dope.
I thought that was awesome.
Quick cut in just to talk about the Transformium thing. So the writer, just because it's funny because I googled it. So the writer, John Rogers, who wrote the Transformers movies, Michael Bay's. These are his other movies: Catwoman and Marry Me from last year. What a writer.
What from last year?
Marry Me, the
Jennifer
Owen
Lopez.
Wilson, Jennifer Lopez.
Actually, that movie's better than this. So
All right, continue.
No.
I think so. I think
That movie was piss.
They canonize Mark Wahlberg in this universe. Why would you canonize one of the few main actors in this damn universe? Like, he's in 2 of the Transformer movies, so just don't bring him up. There's no need for that. But apparently this is a reboot, but it's not. So whatever. Air Razor. So they split the transwarp key in half, right? Air Razor was protecting the one half, right? She hit it in some bird thing. The 3 other Maximals are protecting the other half. I feel like that's a little rude on her. She just gets
It should be 2 and
She's
2. Yeah.
Yeah, she's all alone. You could have gone 2 and 2. You could have split it into fourths. No, it's like her alone, and then the other 3 Maximals are hanging out. And she's like, and someone commented and said that on my video, she that like she wasn't all alone. But I'm pretty sure she says like she doesn't know where the other piece of the transwarp key is, and she hasn't been in touch or something. I don't know. I'm pretty confident she was alone, but maybe I'm wrong about that. And then the G.I. Joe tease, like it happened in the comics, so I understand it. It's just so funny how the MCU has just changed every single franchise, because now every single franchise has to connect no matter what the change is. Like Wolverine is fighting the Predator in comics right now because they're both Marvel. That's gonna happen on screen one day. I'm sure.
Predator's Marvel?
Yeah, the Predator's Marvel.
Yeah, I'm today years old.
But yeah, that's just like, it's so like, I love the MCU. It's just so funny how much it's changed. Like, everything needs to be connected now, and so that's why we get a G.I. Joe tease at the end of this. I don't know. It is so goddamn stupid. I did write that I liked the one-shot fight. I know we said that it's like CGI. It's a lot easier, obviously, to do that than.
I just hate that that's what I'm saying. They showed us all the cool stuff before the movie came out.
Yeah. Also, okay, another idiotic thing that again, whether this is a reboot or not, they originally marketed it as not a reboot. It's just like it's just a sequel to Bumblebee, but it just freaking it retcons basically everything in the Bayverse. So who knows? Maybe it is supposed to be a reboot, but it wasn't marketed that way, so I don't accept that answer. They kill off Bumblebee, and then he comes back because he's laying on like a field of energon, which is stupid, but who cares? And it's a character that we have in future movies, so why kill him off and then bring him back? And also, they tease that Optimus Prime is going to die at the end. Why not just like sacrifice Optimus Primal? I do not understand that. You have like 6 new characters that have never been in these future movies. Like, why not sacrifice, or even if you're not going to kill him off, why not imply you're going to with a new character that you don't know? We have 5 other movies coming up. Like, it's just idiotic stuff like that. And then the fucking Iron Man suit, man, was so bad in my opinion.
I was hoping they were going to cover his face when, everything's coming on him. But please cover the face. Don't leave a dome on his face, because he looks so corny in this right now. But they left him with the dome. I was like, oh, no,
they left him with the dome.
Terrible.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know.
I think go ahead, George.
I was going to say, Cam brings up a good point. Like, if this movie were like a significantly more intimate story that wasn't about the world ending, I think it would have been a ton better. Because, like, we have Transformers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We know the world doesn't fucking end in this movie. The stakes don't feel high. Nothing feels real because we know how it's going to end. Whereas, like, Bumblebee was very, like, small scale, intimate story, which made the stakes feel higher because, we know Bumblebee survives, but we don't know what he's going to be going through. Was like,
I agree.
It's just, it doesn't make sense. And also, I was rewatching the first Transformers after Rise of the Beasts. And it's like, the way that movie portrays the Transformers, it's like, this is their first time on Earth. But now,
and I think that's like what the retcon is that like, they're going for I think it is supposed to be a reboot, but they didn't market it as that, so I'm not accepting that. But I think it is, because you're right, it is their first time on Earth. And also, they clearly retconned the Last Night, because like in that movie their Earth is Unicron for some fucking reason. And then this one, like, I thought we were gonna get like a Unicron like merging with Earth scene, which Dude, this thing's a fucking 1 out of 5.
See, we're all talking about this and it's just going down. One thing. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I don't know.
I was just going to say, like, this is not really a spoiler thing, but this is something like I'm not in the majority or minority on. I think there's a 50-50 split, but I didn't love like the designs of like the Transformers and like the Bumblebee as opposed to Michael Bay universe. I preferred the Bay universe designs. And it's the same in this one. Like I think Optimus Prime in this movie and Bumblebee just looks so much less intimidating and lame than he does in the Bayverse.
Or am I wrong?
As he does
Optimus
in the Bayverse,
has a different design, but doesn't
all the
Bumblebee
Transformers have a clearly different distinctive style in this and Bumblebee than they do in any of the Bay movies. Bay movies are much more like, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot more like pipes and they're bigger. I don't know, but and
they have nuts.
They do have nuts, which give them some nuts. It's why you gotta hate on them. But yeah, I don't know. Like I just thought it's just such a imbalanced movie from writing perspective, because the first 45 minutes are probably the slowest 45 minutes we've ever had in a Transformers movie. But then like, so George is saying, keep it a grounded story. I'm fine with that. But then the fact that the last 45 minutes was Earth's ending, everything's going to die, big cloud above the city in the sky, like the world's about to be destroyed. It's just so imbalanced from what the first 45 minutes set up, where you barely see any Transformers. It's a slow burn for the first 45. So it's like, what are you going for here? Are you going for grounded or are you going for world destruction? Yeah. And the more I'm thinking about this, the more I just really didn't like it. I just didn't really care for anything of this. And like, I don't even know, like my only thing I liked about it was Anthony Ramos. I don't even think he did anything crazy. I thought he was just like, he showed up and did exactly what I'd expect any actor who's working in Hollywood to do. So it's not like I can give him any like props. It's just like he didn't screw the pooch. So bravo.
Yeah. I think I got a million just like comments on my review of just like, it's fun. What'd you expect? And like, I
didn't have fun though. Did you have fun, Cam?
I know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I had a fine time. That's probably why.
Which is
fair. 2.5. Like, I didn't hate my time with it. But at the very least, I was like, this goddamn stupid. This entire thing is just like, every moment is just like another like, oh, that's dumb. But I didn't have a terrible time, and if anyone did, I'm very happy that you had a great time with it. It just, I don't think like once you get past the surface of like, is it an entertaining movie? It's just like nothing else is there. Like it's nothing else. It's nothing more than surface level entertainment, which is fine for most. And I get that, but it just wasn't all there.
Do we have any more thoughts on Transformers: Rise of the Beasts? No. The last line of my Letterboxd review got a lot of people were hating on it. I just said Optimus Prime is such a dweeb, and people were not happy about that. I thought he was
a dweeb.
Yes, thank you. He was such a dweeb in this, and
he was such a pussy in this movie.
Yeah, he was.
Like all in his feelings.
Thank you.
Like fuck you.
People were like, you have a lot of hot takes, but this is by far your worst one ever. Optimus Prime is like the GOAT, and I'm like, dude, he was such a.
People are very defensive about him as a character.
Yeah, and the thing is, he was probably written his dialogue the exact same as every other Transformers movie. So maybe it's just the fact that this one came 7th as opposed to 2nd that I'm criticizing it even more. But like his actions were completely dweebish. But in this, like, the one-liners he has and the whole like "let them come" stuff is just so at this point it's just so overdone. And
that was great.
It's like
I will say though, someone who never mails it in is Peter Cullen. Even if he's given the worst lines possible, he's given that Optimus Prime performance, and I do respect him for that.
Yeah, that is fair.
We'll never get once he passes, we'll never get a better Optimus Prime voice like ever.
So George, you give the movie a 2.
2.5.
2.5.
It'll probably go down.
Yep, 2.5. Seth, you give it a 1.5.
No, I'll give it a 1. I've just changed it now.
Cam, you give it a 2.5.
I talked him into it. Yeah, 52 out of 1.
2.5 for Cam, which also might go down. And for me, I gave it a 1.5, but it's got to go down. It has
again.
To be,
if you liked it, you know what? I don't know about you guys. I'm looking at the people who I follow who've rated it. There's a lot more positive than there is negative.
Oh,
that's
100%.
why I was disappointed with it. I really thought I'd like it.
Yeah, there's a lot of 3.5s.
Yeah,
there is. Yeah, same for me. So if you liked it, I respect it.
Yeah. No, totally. And that's the way I feel with every review. If I'm ever dogging on a movie you love, it's completely my opinion. And if you have fun with it, I'm over the moon for you. But for me, I think I'd rather watch Dark of the Moon than this. So this by default has to be a 0.5. That'll wrap up the Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Cam, are we losing you at this point? All right. Have a safe drive home back to Indiana land.
Drive.
And
bye, Cameron.